Steps in creating a time series regression. So firstly, what we have to do is we have to decide whether we want a time series or whether we want some other regression model like a multiple linear model or a polynomial regression model like that. We may not require a time series at all, right? We may have some other kind of equations where the dependent variable y is dependent on some other features which are not time, like x1, x2, etc., etc. And the degree of the dependency can be linear or polynomial. It can be dependent on x1 square or x1 cube, right? So these things we have to decide. And if we decide that no, we do not want a multiple linear regression or a polynomial regression or an exponential regression like that, we want a time series, then we move on to the second step. The second step is start with basic time series. Basic time series means you start with a linear trend or an exponential trend, right? You start with a linear trend or an exponential trend. So let's say you created a model which is like this: yt is equal to b0 plus b1 into t. This kind of a model you have created. And what you do now is you check for autocorrelations in this model. Autocorrelation or serial correlation. How do you do that? You do that through something called the Durbin-Watson test. Now the value of Durbin-Watson ranges between 0 and 4, right? Now the safe zone is somewhere around 1.5 to 2.5. If it is within this range, you can safely say that there is no such autocorrelation, right? But if it is more closer to 0 or more closer to 4, then there is either positive or negative serial correlation. In that case, what you have to do is you have to check for some other models, right? Other model means we go to step 3 where we try out more complicated models like the AR model. So how do we do that? We start regressing these models. Yt with respect to yt minus 1, yt with respect to yt minus 2, yt with respect to yt minus 3, ... And we do these regressions successively. And what we are looking for is the t statistic value, whether this is significant or insignificant, right? So for example, let's say yt minus 1 regression is significant, okay? And gradually the values for yt minus 2, yt minus 3 fall below the critical value of t. So this is insignificant, this is insignificant, right? So in this kind of a case, if the gradual decline of values is there, we can say this model is a AR1 model. Similarly, we may find something else. Let's remove this one. We may find that yt minus 1 is significant, but the significance of yt minus 2 and yt minus 3 are far below significant. They have a sudden drop. There is a sudden drop in value. In that case, we may conclude this is a moving average 1 kind of a model. So like this, we can go on assessing what kind of a model is to be used, right? Or it may so happen that yt minus 1 and yt minus 3 become significant and yt minus 2 become insignificant. So let me write it. So yt minus 1 is significant, yt minus 3 is significant, but yt minus 2 is insignificant. So in that case, what do you assess? You assess that there is seasonality in this regression. And you account for all these factors, however they are visible in your model, right? Whatever factors come up, you use it in their model creation. Now the model is created, right? Now we move on to the fourth step. The fourth step is you check for covariance stationarity. You check for covariance stationarity. This is very important, friends, because otherwise the regression is invalid. How you can do that? Obviously, you do the unit root test. right? You do the unit root test to find out if there is covariance stationarity in the model or not. If it is not, obviously you have to do things like first differencing and stuff. If it is not, you have to do things like first differencing. You might have to check for further seasonality stuff. You might have to check further whether the trend is linear or exponential. Right? It's like a recheck. You have done a bit of modeling first in step 3, but you are not sure if the model is covariance stationary. You do the unit root test and you find out that yes, there is non-stationarity in the model. So if that is the case, then you move to these kind of steps. First differencing, if it's a AR1 model, for example, seasonality checks, linearity and exponential checks, all these checks you do once again, right? Then we move on to step 5. Once you have corrected for non-stationarity, we move on to step 5. This is checking for further anomalies or further problems. For example, if you have an AR model, autoregressive model, you check whether the model has the problem of arc, particularly if the model is arc 1 or not. So we have already understood how we test for it, right? We regress the square of the errors on its lagged value. So epsilon t square is equal to alpha 0 plus alpha 1 multiplied by epsilon t minus 1 square plus some error. Now, if this alpha 1 is significantly different from 0, we say there is arc in the model, right? There is conditional heteroscedasticity in the autoregressive model. If it is not significantly different from 0, if alpha 1 is not significantly different from 0, we say arc 1 is not there. So we are good to go. So good to go means we move into step 6, which is using the model out of sample. Using the model for out of sample data regression. So friends, this is a summary or whatever we have to discuss in the time series chapter for CFA level 2. So hope you like this class, and if you're looking for further chapters and further classes on CFA different levels, then the playlists are in the description. You can go there and access all those classes. If these videos add value to you, do help me spread the words by liking, subscribing and commenting, and also sharing the videos. And if you want to join a full-fledged curriculum, we have a link given below in the description. Do check that out. We provide full-fledged classes, practice tests, corrections, suggestions regarding the study methods. We do one-to-one counseling sessions which help you. So all these things will be available in the full-fledged curriculum. Do check that out. Until then, keep watching these videos. Do subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.